Greetings all. You are tuned into Context Matters. The date is February 22, 2024. Yeah. So I don't got my glasses on. So I was driving in a car and left my glasses in there, and the owner won't return it. So that's called larceny. It's the taking and carry away of somebody's property with the intention of not to return it. So anybody sees prints somewhere in London, you tell him he commits larceny and he's to return my glasses. But anyway, um, happy Thursday, Cynthia B. Nest One Love. You are tuned into Reggae Global Radio. And again, it's context matters. And listen, the question to be asked is, how are you going to choose the best political servant? Somebody who's going to serve you, who knows they're a servant and don't think that they're superior to you? Well, the answer to that is by finding your critical thinking mechanism, um, your ability to ensure that you understand what it is that you're actually doing. So anybody that's tuning in on the YouTube, apart from Reggae Global Radio, and tuning in through TikTok, welcome. I just want to say special greetings to Calligraphy, Tanisha Ellis, Janet Chikori, Emrys Wilson, Gaza Nation 100, Marcia Richards, Patricia Thorpe, Sunshine, good evening to you. Catherine Daly. Um, Catherine said, put in some contacts. Catherine knows I'm a blind, you know. If I have to draw for my glasses, I gotta draw for it. But right now, it messing up my swag, so I don't want to put on no glasses because I have on this blue Adidas shirt with the lines and stuff like that. And then next thing we're gonna put on the glasses, and because as I say, they took my blue glasses and it hasn't been returned, so I have to do without it. So site fashion over site any day, you know what I'm say. Context matters. Sonia Johnson, big up yourself. JJ, big up. Vivia, Janet Monday, Gigi, Jones, the Broad Belt, big up. Jean, Dion, good evening. Listen, KFC closer than you think. Teresa and Hall, genius, welcome. Jodian, Chetty Brown, trying to keep up, but let me say, slow things right now, cause the eyes are willing, but they can't see what they need to see. Angela Cole. All right, so if I miss anybody, I'll revert to it. So listen, local government election, as you know, is going to be about Monday, and the language being used. So let me set the context or set the stage. So in Jamaica, they have obviously two political parties. The Jamaica Labour Party, which is the ruling party right now, they form the government, and you have the People's National Party, which is the opposition party. The other people, respectfully, they just don't count. Independence and the other people, just culturally, we are aligned to those two parties. Now, it's interesting to say the least. But what happens is local government election really isn't necessarily a party alignment issue. I don't know if that makes sense, because you want your road fixed and the person who is the candidate has to be able to deliver. It is the councillors who are in most contact with the people. And so they serve you regardless of which party lines they're on. And guess what? Oh, I just saw, yeah, they serve you regardless of which party lines you find yourself on. And pretty much when you consider that, what you're seeing in the space now is really presentation of candidates by the two heads of parties. So you have Andrew Holness, on the most honorable Andrew Holness, on one side, and the honorable Mark Golden on the other side, and they're like, I give to you all these candidates and you don't even know the name. For instance, I'm in the Canton Spring area. Let me tell you something. Um, I don't even know any of the candidates in that area. I don't know any of the candidates in the constituency run by Delroy Chuck. So naturally, then what is going to have to happen is you're gonna have to vote for the party that you like per se. So if you like Delroy Chuck, it's likely that you're going to end up voting for whoever his candidate is, even if him have a donkey running or a big dummy. That's who you're gonna vote for. Likewise, if you don't like Delroy Chuck, you're obviously gonna vote for the orange side. To prove a point or to make a statement. So the promises that are being made, are they promises or commitments that being made? Are they commitments and promises that you need for a local government election? Because this isn't a general election. And it really isn't a referendum on the two candidates or an indication of anything, because local government is a different class of election, if I'm right. But notwithstanding, there is a critical thinking mechanism that we would have. So what somebody is going to then ask me is, what is critical thinking? So that's the starting point. What is critical thinking? So here's my take. Critical thinking is a kind of thinking in which you question, then you analyze, then you interpret, and then you evaluate and make a judgment. So, in order to, when you're going to vote and you put your X beside the head or you put your X beside the bell, you must first question, who is my servant? Who will put themselves in servitude and answer my call? Because you are my servant. You are representing creatures of the Constitution that serves us, the human. So when I question and say, will you be my servant, you servitude serving beggar who wants to be a politician? Will you serve me? I question that, and the answer is that which I will analyze. When I analyze that, I say, are they being truthful? Will they deliver? Is their boot lean now? Can they bathe and can they present themselves? Did they use Colgate? Is their mouth stink? Do they have all their teeth in their mouth? These are simple things, those are the aesthetic side of it. Because do you really want a representation who look like him broke and hungry and out of money, or her, respectfully, because we can't discriminate any one of them. And while you analyze and you hear what they have to say, like two debates passed. The first one, well, both of them went to the People's National Party, but the first one went horribly wrong, respectfully. The second one, you saw intellect at its highest. So kudos to both parties for answering the call of the most erudite Dion Jackson Miller journalist, who said the debates were a disaster, and then they fixed that. But then you interpret, and after you interpret what both parties are saying, or both candidates represent parties, then you evaluate, you make the assessment. Who is the candidate now? Did they deliver? Do I need to change? Do I have roads? Since it's local government, it can't be the big pretty highways. We're talking about the road them where you have your nice good up car and you can't even drive on it because there's more potholes than actual asphalt. You evaluate that, and then you make the judgment call that's best for you. So there are two things. You have what's known as utilitarianism. So what both parties are saying is the greater good for the greater number. Well, at first glance, it seemed that way. But here's what I can tell you, what I'm absolutely sure of. The government is saying it. You must take a utilitarian approach because there is a vision to get everybody out of poverty. How are they going to do that? Well, if you are poor, just stay poor while we fix it. Don't worry about who is getting better salaries or who is doing what. You just stay where you are, vote, keep us in because we have work to do. So you sacrifice the betterment of your life for a utilitarian, utopian type of governance. So the greater good for the greater number. So it doesn't matter if you're suffering, prosperity will eventually reach you. It's not happening now, but if you look at the economic index, we are striving. If you look at the employment, even though it's window wipers that make up the employment and call centers and stuff like that, we are striving. Don't worry about your $13,000 a week. After all, you are a part of the government party. Of course, $13,000 a week is going to be good for you. On the other end, you have the People's National Party that's saying we want to become the next government, and so we need to bring home local government to send a message. Well, and naturally, you're also going to do that for the greater good and the greater numbers. So that's pretty much what you're trying to do, or what you're trying to get at. So think of it that way. So when some people laughing at me, but I'm 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 getting to it. So after you make a judgment about what you hear, what you read, what was said, or what you write, then the term critical is how you derive at the type of thinking that you're talking about. So the critical it comes from the Greek word kritikos, and it means able to judge or discern. So good critical thinking is about making reliable judgments based on reliable information. So you can't make a informed judgment on misinformation. So in this current dispensation, and the two options that you have, you will either end up like this, which is you're in a car, you somebody eating, somebody vex, the driver, and then you're the person who always saying, I got a wee wee again. And then people says, you've done this all the way home. So this is a perfect illustration. I'm not in any way suggesting that people are pigs, but context do matter. If you're not seeing it, it's because you're not looking at the visual on Reggae Global Radio or on the YouTube. But that's the concept, and here it is. And you know the old adage, this little piggy went to market, whatever, and this little piggy cried wee 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 all the way home. Well, when you vote, ensure that you're not wee weeing all the way home, because nothing changes and you're part of the suffering class, because it is vastly growing, and the bleeding certainly won't stop. Now, applying critical thinking does not mean being negative or focusing on faults. So let me make that clear. I'm in no way criticizing. I'm simply being critical in my thinking. So it means being able to clarify your thinking so that you can break down a problem or a piece of information, interpret it, and use that information to arrive at an informed decision or judgment. For example, when designing a bridge or responding to an opinion piece or understanding a political motivation. And in the context of the conversation that we're having, the political motivation is important. So people who apply critical thinking consistently are said to have a critical thinking mindset, and we're trying to get to that mindset. But no one is born this way, so it's a trained attribute. So the attributes are learned and improved through practice and application. So in the academic context now, critical thinking is most commonly associated with arguments, which you will hear from both sides in an effort to get your votes. You might be asked to think critically about other people's arguments or create your own, or to become a better critical thinker. Here are some of the things that you need to know, or some of the things that you need to learn how to do. You need to clarify, question, identify, analyze, evaluate, and then create. Make sense? So let's try this. When we say you clarify, you're thinking purpose and my favorite word, context. Donna, Sarah, I hope you're listening, Herbert, same thing. Loxley, big up yourself. The next thing after you clarify, you question. So you question your source of information, because in this day and age, you have people who put out wrong information so regularly. Um, you'd be surprised to know how interesting that is in terms of the misinformation. So something will come out at 3 o'clock and you hear one thing and they have to clarify it in the back page when 3:15 come. The next thing is you question the source of information. Then you identify the arguments. Then you analyze the source and arguments. Then you evaluate the arguments of the others. So you have to check both sides, like similar. That's the purpose or the reason why the debates were so important. And then you create a synthesis, or you create or synthesize rather your own arguments. So as the image, as you can just as look at the image again, and you will see that if you use all of the skills, you will have to look at all four persons in the vehicle. Is the driver qualified to be driving? Should you be eating in the car? Should you be folding your hands? Should you not wear a seatbelt? All of the same picture can be used to facilitate in every single thing in relation to whether it be the law, whether it be to politics, whatever it is. The characters will fit in a place. So let me give you some examples of critical thinking skills and mindset practice. Um, so you have questioning skills, analytical skills, evaluation skills, and synthesis skills. So if you clarify your purpose and context, it will help you focus your thinking and avoid information overload and distractions. So there are certain things in logic known as fallacies. So you have the ad hominem, which I always talk about, where they attack the person because they can't really deal with the issues as they arise. You have the red herring, or the smoke screen, and these are all tools used to distract you. So you have to go away from the distraction. Let me tell you what the biggest distraction is now every time there is election. 18 years. For 18 years, the People's National Party had Jamaica and they didn't do anything economical with it. But you see, in those 18 years, there was not social media in the manner that it is now. There isn't evolution in real time for you to have an assessment like you are able to assess now. So for those 18 years, accountability is different from the accountability that is required now. But most importantly is everybody is to be assessed on their own merit. So if you are a party and you have had the country collectively for three administrations with one break, you've basically had it for 15 years. That's 3 years shy of 18 years. What is your excuse in terms of development? If you take it at its own merit, then you are to assess and say, but you have equally had it, and are we where we need to be? And do you need to take a break? Do you need to take a break so you can re-collaborate, so you can weed out the 6 corrupt people, knowing that there are cases where those who are placed in the position to prosecute is gambling and putting corrupt people to remain on juries so that they can obtain convictions? And is that what you want for the country? These are things that's important, because when corruption reigns, is unfettered and unchecked, and there's no accountability for it, what it means is somebody's child is going to be deprived of education, somebody's child is going to be deprived of an opportunity to enhance, and suddenly the utilitarian concept is of no moment. But even that conversation is not necessarily applicable to local government. The purpose of local government is an infrastructural thing. For instance, if you go into a market, remember, notice the picture on the screen, this little piggy went to market. If the market dirty and whatever, like the lady in Montego Bay, and promises of a two-story market, why would I need to climb the stairs with my bad knee? Them big up yourself, Brandon, who who have iron knee and can go carnival and enjoy themselves because them knee now hurt them. All right, so these are things you have to think about. Why would I need a two-story market? Why do I need to go up the stairs? Why not fix hospitals so that people won't be on the floor? Why not ensure that people are fed? Transportation, access to all of that for development is more important. What are the things that's important? Um, you have to think about these things so that you can assess it. So local government really isn't the forum to have this 18 years slash 15 years conversation, but rather what is it that the parish council is doing about picking up garbage? Have we not found a system yet so that garbage collection can be more consistent? Have we not found a way to ensure that sanitation, drainage, and all of these things is at a place where we can prevent disease, sickness, rat infestation? These are things that your local government have to do with. Rather cars that expire on the 26th is probably not something that you want to worry about now. But that's just one aspect of it. The other thing is, if all you have to say is vote me in because you're tired of the other, you're really not coming with nothing. And so when you critically assess, um, you have to know, question the sources and who is it coming from? Because if it come from a tree card man, if it come from a liar, then it falls on deaf ears. You best believe it's empty promises and false commitments. So when you question your sources, you learn how to select sources of information that are the most credible, accurate, and relevant for your thinking task. So it means that when you turn on your radio, there's just some radio stations that you just definitely can avoid because, whew, anyway, you then have to identify arguments. The ability to identify arguments will help you recognize the main points made in your sources. After you do that, you analyze the sources and the arguments so that you demonstrate your critical thinking, and you need to be able to carefully examine sources and arguments, theories and processes, and explain how they work. The next thing you do is you evaluate the arguments. And as you're doing that, you do it in the capacity of a critical thinker, and you need to be able to evaluate arguments as well as the claims, evidence, and reasoning that comprise them. And then you create your own argument. So when you learn how to bring together evidence, reasoning, and claims and create your own argument, you can then communicate with a clarity that will cause people to understand the very thing that you're saying. And it will also allow people to be able to make proper assessment. Now, my question to you is, are you familiar with critical thinking, and is it a skill that you think that Jamaicans should have access to if we're going to move our nation? I am suggesting that we ought to abandon Vision 2030. That is of no moment anymore. But certainly, is that a skill that you think you would need? And so I'm checking in the comment section now. Somebody says, I have searched near and far and I can't find two-story market anywhere in the world. The Prime Minister is trying to distract the people by lying to them, and that, my friend, is a shame. The press supposed to press the government more instead of asking them questions that is already laid out. My fellow Jamaicans, this is you, yo, turn up. Press, okay. Now, Viola said, my fellow Jamaicans, be very analytical in your choice of candidates. No die-heartedness. Pamela, blessings to you as well. Violet Mackenzie, good evening to you. Natalie Mullins says, I can't believe after Conjure Hopeless and his gang of thieves. All right, so I'm not reading out all of them, especially when they're bashing, because we're here to think critically, not necessarily bash. That's right, Carlene. Listening is good. It's a part of the process of critical thinking. Janet says, yes, Robinson, he is without a doubt. Um, Forever Young says, I say, bless up unto your listeners. Blessings. Yes, critical thinking is important. Yes, Danny. That's the what I'm looking for. Keisha Mackenzie says, not abandon it, but it certainly needs to be pushed back to Vision 2050. Well, if you add 20 years on it, if you're thinking, if you're talking about bad knees now, his wheelchair you're talking about in the 20 years. Keisha, big up yourself. Um, God's and said, God knows you're thinking what I'm thinking. Christopher, yes, one Jamaica. If for your information, well, I said most of them don't. Rosalie said, I said, good evening, good teaching. I'm thinking, enough KFC. God knows says he is hoping people get brain damage again to vote Satan back in. Wow. All right. So here's the thing. Like I was saying, he is the head of the party and he has to do what he has to do to campaign for his party. But local government election is about the local candidates and their interpersonal skills and their ability to do the groundwork and serve the people. These are independent candidates could actually do that because then they would call on the relevant councils to disperse the funds to do what is necessary for them to do. So it's a very tricky thing if you feel the way you feel about the prime minister and it deprives the person at the local level from doing that what they're supposed to do, you may be doing yourself a disservice. Blessed existence says yes, Isaac, because the dunce business is not reflective of the foundation our parents instill within us. They sacrificed because they wanted more for us, especially in regards to education and critical thinking. Now, education without consistency, education without persistence, education without tenacity of purpose. You just be a educated dummy. People don't like to hear that, but that's really what it is. Loxy, big up, um, always reminding me of my very great grandfather, my great, not great, but powerful grandfather. As the grandson of James Porteous, I am proud. Big up yourself. Catherine Daly said, is space an issue? Why he wanted to build an upstairs market? Upstairs market fancy. Now, can you imagine when you want your eggs? You go upstairs for your eggs. And when you want your broccoli, you go to the far wing for the broccoli. And when you finish, you navigate and you stop for the carrots. And you go downstairs in the meat shop. And so the eggs don't have to mix with the pork and the pork don't have to mix with the fish because they're on two separate levels. That is vision. But the next thing is because some of we handicapped or less able or unable, we're gonna need a elevator. And then when the elevator broke down, you're gonna need $30 billion, send the $30 billion to the local government election so that we can put in a new elevator. And then when the budget read, we're gonna need to have the elevator that open in the back and in the front. And so on the two-story, and for the next election, we want to put 4 more stories on the top. And then we're going to have a government building because we want to have a freezer on the top floor. You understand? And we're going to sell ice and all of those things. And so we need a budget for that because every time the elevator broke down, we need $10 billion because this is not a regular market. It's a two-story and stuff. And then we're going to have to get shovel horn to maintain it. You get it? Yeah. So them things that go on. And so you have to have vision for know how them things that work because, yeah, access and functionality and common sense must always be a part of town and country planning. So I'm not saying that nothing is wrong with a two-story thing, but are you going to have escalators? Are you going to have the community policing to monitor those things? What will be the maintenance like? Is the escalators are they going to be working, and are you going to have lifts for a person with the wheelchair? Because if I eat eggs and the eggs are on the second floor and I'm in a wheelchair, I must have access. And we have a Disabilities Act. So I'm just setting this out for you to appreciate the importance of critical thinking. So if when you're doing this, you don't start to see that when things sound good, because for me, it's a simple fix. All you have to do is come out and say, this local government election, KFC for everybody, and you have my vote. See how simple that is? When you start to tell me about market and we don't even go market, and then make people carry them aki go a Linstead market and not a Quark, sell. And then you hear say the market, the Montego Bay, or where them are go selling, and then the market where them build up a back road and stuff like that. So I don't know. Whatever the market is, fish market, whatever it just has to be practical. And so you can't just say stuff, and when you say it, you forget that it's the taxpayers' money. So a lot of times we need to get what we need, and as a servant, your vision should not outweigh progress for the people. I'm just showing you or demonstrating the importance of critical thinking. So three things happened. So on the campaign, there was a lady who lost a leg. She lost her leg, and people was like, "Oh, that's so irresponsible, whatever." But she says, notwithstanding, they saved her. She still have one leg, and she's still gonna vote. On the other end, the conversation came up because a young man lost his life. He was about 15, and he was on the PNP campaign trail, and he lost his life. And then people said, then there was this very odd press release from, I don't know, some communication arm or whatever. I don't really follow the politics, but they were saying or chiding the opposition leader for using the death of the young man as a political football. It was a waste of paper, and I mean, save the trees, because somebody died is most unfortunate, and the conversation and the topics are so, it's just not in the space, like to try to score a political point by putting out a press release to criticize, selective criticism, because there's much more pressing issues. And then what about the what them call or something there, where them put out, where them say, somebody in the comments tell me, you must put out this thing that tell you how you're gonna run the country. I don't remember what it is, because I'm a political dummy. That's why I have to do the critical thinking. What's it called? Keisha, you around? Manifesto. Yeah, but see, we deal with Galifesto. So when they put out their manifesto, we don't really read them things there. You see it? So when we vote and we critically think, you have the bill, and all I do is build. But you build, or you get in a house. And so depending, you have to have vision, and so at first glance, you have to know what it is. So when somebody say they're building houses and stuff, you might be careful, because you might find yourself in a situation where you end up in the type of village and the wrong thing happens. I just put the photo there, and it's a matter for you. But building is okay, but you have to see behind the trickery about infrastructure, and whether the infrastructure is something beneficial to you, because you might find yourself in a village that you don't want to live in. But some people are obsessed with green, and so they might just vote, and then whatever happens. So it's a matter for you. I have no comment further than that. Yes, big up yourself, fully active. Which is a green man. Good evening, good evening. And Janet says it was two persons died from both parties by falling off transportation, and another lost a leg. See, I didn't even know that, so I'm glad you said that. But so on another note, so you have that choice. So when you're dealing with the Galifesto, you must know what you want and what it is that causes you to vote. So you have the green side, but then sometimes the country needs to get back to saving the environment and mother nature. So sometimes we have to we need clean water, and we need flowing water, and we need a space where, the greenery and fresh air and clean water is there for everybody, because we have a water shortage and we want to fix that. So maybe the government for you might be the orange government, because flowing water and nature is there for you. So we just never know sometimes. So it's a matter. So when you're thinking critically, you have to think what is it that the government is offering? What is it that I need at the time? Do I need the hustle and the bustle, or do I need nature and a sense of freshness and a sense of oxygen and breathing and all the things that come with that. So these are the options, but you may never know, or you may get carried away, and as a candidate, rather than you put in the X, you're supposed to put the X beside the head. You're not supposed to just get, I don't know. So sometimes people get carried away. So I can see why it is that persons find themselves falling off cars, falling off buses, because they get a little bit careless and they get a little bit excited. But we do have our political ombudsman. Yeah, God knows why you're laughing. Yeah, is Galifesto. It's the right word. Yeah, that's just how it go. So those are those is pretty much what comes to mind when it comes to choices. Um, Somebody said February is mango month and it's now harvesting time. Pamela said, can you imagine the land of wood and water, and people are short of running water in their homes now? Yeah, so these are the things. But I must say this, I always give to Caesar what due to Caesar. The Labour Party has done some infrastructure in terms of bringing water to communities. So that's important. Oh, somebody says the previous picture. No, I'm saying it's a matter of choice, because sometimes that's how it is. You see how this lady, she's excited about the orange. I don't even know who the candidate is. I just know it's an orange car, and this woman is excited about where she sits. But it's supposed to be put your X beside the head, not sit on it. That's really what it is. But in that, but people mustn't get carried away, because you might find yourself in greener pastures, or you might find yourself um, in the Orangeville, and sometimes nature has a way of working itself out. So it's a matter for you. But here we are. That being said, we then must ask, what are the criteria, or what do we expect when we think about the assessment? So you might ask yourself, what makes a person a critical thinker? Well, you must be skeptical. Carlton says 20 of going down to Jamaica to vote. We are leaving. Okay. Some D says excited to the point of being stupid. And Jones says, Sir Isaac, you think it's KFC you talk about a market laugh? Well, I'm not I'm not advocating for KFC to be the next government, but whether the government change or not, that not stop my KFC. That's all I'm saying. Pamela officially said, please put this in context for me. The PM says he is not making any promises, he's giving a commitment. Yes, so because a promise, he's made promises and he hasn't kept them. But he has done a lot, and nobody, I mean, he who has eyes, let them see, and he's committed to, I really don't know what he's committed to. He's committed to a better Jamaica, and there are remnants of the society that is a better Jamaica. I say this all the time, let me tell you something. And I'm using this during a political thing. If this prime minister had respect for human rights, if this prime minister stopped, if the prime minister stopped using states of emergencies and stopped criminalizing young people and give young people opportunities, and instead of giving one house, he gave houses to everybody, like the Clayton situation. If he had, instead of giving the one girl a house, if he had found a way to compensate all those persons for their house, I can tell you this, he would be the best prime minister. But we are human beings, and we forget sometimes that we are servants. So in that in that reality, you know that you have to balance those things to decide if you're voting for him. So it's a no-brainer. He uses states of emergencies. I am against state of emergencies. I couldn't vote for him. Simple. But I don't have to vote for him because I'm not in his constituency. But what I would do is I wouldn't waste a vote for somebody who uses states of emergencies and who is incapable of fighting crime. Those are the issues that matter to me. If those issues never matter to me, and for instance, I was a big idiot and I had no regard for the Constitution and I don't care about poor people and I don't care about the least among us, then of course, you know how that thing goes. Of course, if I don't like the Constitution, I would be a laborite. Of course, if I don't like poor people, I would be a laborite. That kind of thing. But this isn't a political campaign. I'm saying if he fixed those things straight up, Mark would have a problem. So if he comes to the podium and says, Jamaica, I'm not going to use states of emergencies. Jamaica, we're going to fight crime as a community. He would remain the prime minister because the PNP would have nothing to offer. His only Achilles heel is his lack of respect for the Constitution and the use of states of emergency and the mistreatment of young males, poor males, especially in the context that he was a poor person and he owed student loan and he went through the struggles. If he wasn't doing that, we would have a different situation. And yeah, I would just, that would just be like, leave it. Yeah, but if those things, if you had respect for the Constitution and you weren't using states of emergency, there wouldn't be any corruption. It's corruption why those things happen, respectfully. And corruption is in every single country. So the fixing of corruption, for instance, if you want to fix corruption, you can't have gamblers, you can't have people that gamble, that don't respect the Constitution. Those are the things. But also, fix your declarations as well, because it looks very shady. So many things outstanding. These are issues that, as a critical thinker, you would have to look at. So the dispositions. Critical thinkers are skeptical, open-minded, value fair-mindedness, respect evidence and reasoning, respect clarity and precision, look at different points of view, and will change positions when reasons lead them to do so. So the criteria is to think critically. You must apply the criteria. So which song you want a copy of? Sly Mongoose, Sly Mongoose, your name gone abroad. Yeah. So when you think critically, you have to be prepared to change positions when the reasoning leads you to do so. So that a hypothetical yeah, Isa, your new name now is the beekeeper. I do understand. You have to explain that one to me. Yeah. So as a critical thinker, just as I said, if these conditions were met, I'm prepared to say that Andrew Holness is the best prime minister. The thing is, those criteria won't be met. So that's why we have those choices that we need to battle with when it comes to going to the polls, because there's so many great things. So no, it's fine. Disrespect is fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. People are allowed to express themselves freely. Don't worry. I won't sue you. I won't file a defamation suit. You're free to get the attention and your 15 minutes of fame. If it makes you happy and if it changes your life, it's not a problem. What I'm trying to say is these things are important. Sorry, the economy is in the pits. $5,000 banks notes did it. No, the world globalization did it. If you go on TikTok and you see all those people living lavishly, you get the point. It's expensive to live in the global space. So we must not make that. Somebody says, can Mark do it better though, ISAT? My name is Isa, not Issa. Issa is a nice name. Don't get me wrong. If your name is Issa, you just don't give the code to your phone. It's a simple thing. But I'm Isat. Anyway, can Mark do better? The only way you're going to know that is if you give him a chance. What I can say is, Lisa, come mash up my life. You don't have to wear orange. You still look nice. And everybody know you are PNP. All if you know wear orange. So you see, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, but that's a question. If you don't give Mark the opportunity, you'll never know. So you can't ask Isaac, can Mark do better? So we just have to be realistic in terms of how we look about those situations. So what you are faced with is the reality that, guess what, um you must know what you want. People must know what they want. I'm just putting out to you that as a critical thinker, I don't buy into the utilitarian concept. I do not feel good knowing that police officers, they voted today, but knowing that they're not paid properly. Much as I criticize them, there are police officers who they do real work. And their integrity is unmatched, and they're the new police officers, I don't know, the training must be different or something, because they understand the concept of restorative justice. These are some of the things that I certainly am proud of, not that anybody needs me to be proud of them, but um, conflict resolution. And then on the other spectrum, the extrajudicial killings is not something that we want. But what I'm saying to you is, with the police underpaid, with the teachers underpaid, with all of these things happening, the questions that people would put to me are smoke screens and red herring. Somebody says integrity unmatched. Maria Williams. I said some of them. Let me tell you something. I was here. I'm still here in London, and I saw a case happening at the Privy Council, and I'm telling you, Lord, only God knows. When a colleague can get up and say you should be disbarred, and you're practicing and you're doing no harm to people, and the basis upon which you say it is in clear disrespect to the Court of Appeal and their decisions, and you bring it to the Privy Council to continue that fight. That's the type of country that we live in. You still have white people that don't like Rastaman, but then they go to the Bob Marley movie and say, oh, they love the Bob Marley movie. You love Bob Marley, but you don't love Rasta. That type of hypocrisy. So I don't forget, the Laborites are the people that trim the Rasta people, and even in my lifetime, I used to hear about those things and what Bustamante did, but I represented Ntingo, and I watch press release that says she pop out her own hair after them trim her. I represent a young girl who, she was going to a primary school, and they said she has license Jonjo, and I witnessed the court say, yeah, she have license Jonjo. The people with license, black people with license Jonjo, they must have come to school because only black people have license Jonjo. That's in a judgment. So there are things that happens that I can't change my mind to that, to know that inequality in a society is something that has to be eradicated, and corruption is the biggest breather of inequality. So I'm not fooled. I watch those people. I see them on social media, and I hear them. I hear these people justifying things that ought not to be justified. And the truth, they hate the truth. And whenever you call them out, they say 18 years. So, wondering, I said, if you have ever been to Zimbabwe, thank you for this live. You are a great teacher. Thank you so much, Sarah Caliante. I've never been there, but I'm going to do my rites of passage and go to Africa, where I know the real black people are, and find, my roots. I will go there where people respect people for being the original man, that kind of thing. Loxley Gregory says, if Lisa was opposition leader, Andrew Holness them would have to go up. So here's what. No, Lisa is so beautiful. Lisa has capacity and everything, but Mark also has capacity. So when I hear that, that's an aesthetic thing, and I'm gonna read the comment again. If Lisa was opposition, let me show you. Context matters. I'm gonna put the picture up and let me read it now. Watch me. If Lisa was opposition leader, Andrew Holness them would have a go up. Do you see that? That's context and why the picture is important. Because if you're voting based on beauty, intellect, boy, there's nothing you can ever say bad about Lisa. I saw Lisa's response to um the Emily lady. Emily, the radio lady, Emily lady, was classic. She's like, don't watch what I'm wearing. You worried about the wrong thing. So anyway, in context by that. But um you have Andrew and people want Andrew. And that's what it is. But here's what I do know. Yeah, God knows says Mark is very intelligent man and a man of integrity. Mark is educated and a great business person with experience. So what I can tell you is this. You really don't have anything bad to say about Mark. There's nothing bad anybody can say about Mark because he's not dunce. He's not uneducated. He's not he filed his declarations and his tax. But then I see comments where people say Mark is not good to run the country, but you must say why. You must say why. And again, until he gets that opportunity and it's not to your liking, you really don't have an argument to say it. So that's what it is. So Loxley goes again with his campaign. So you get what the constituents want. There was the democratic process would have allowed that. So I'm just putting that out there to say, no, but there's nothing wrong with being careless. You don't want a careless person to run your country. See, now when you do that, Loxley, when you're trying to draw me out, I'm gonna change the topic because big up to Damian Crawford, and that's my biases. Damian Crawford is a Rasta man. Well, if they say he was a Rasta man in him, say him have dreadlocks, so him raise him pig them. But I don't know if he meet him pig. I forgot call him and find out. But yeah. Anyway, what you need to do is focus because again, those things are distractions. Because there are persons that saying Christopher Tufton should be the prime minister and Andrew should go. Those are internal choices, but when a party is unified, such as it is now, where the PNP is unified, and they can't have the conversation about disunity anymore. In fact, the one person who wasn't unity is now on the other side and sounded like a broken, like when you play a record back way, you scratch the record, she's now on the other side and she embarrassed herself in the debates. I don't have to call names. It is what it is. I know the party is unified because all who needed to go, they're gone. That's just what that is. And the same thing. One thing I can tell you about Andrew Holness is, he does not abandon anybody. Man pull gun and him just say, you defend yourself and you're still the candidate. Not so on the other side. I'm just saying he's loyal to his people, and that maybe that loyalty is why you have 6 corrupt people sit down in a parliament, because he not leg on nobody. But there's some old adage, some sayings of wisdom. The family that stays together and prays together is gonna be together. So all if you come as you are, I don't know, maybe. I'm just saying those things, but there are attributes that you're gonna have to appreciate about people, and it takes a strong person to be a leader. You have to be a man. You have to stand up like man. Yeah, you can beat your chest like man. You can't be a weak jellyback boy and think that you can be a leader. So you have to know. Melanie Bowman says, I can see that Mark is a different person. And the thing is, those who have eyes, let them see. But what I want is a leader who listens, a leader who doesn't abuse the least among us. If you are not having a thought of the people who can't um, access basic amenities for themselves, then it's pointless to be a leader. And I don't care what the index says. I don't care what, because when you say they want to kill you, but when the United States say it, they have to try to be diplomatic about it. So actions speak louder than words. That's pretty much what I'm saying. But and also what I'm saying with complete clarity, and these are my opinions. The thoughts, opinions, and ideas that are expressed on these shows are the ideas of mine, and not necessarily the ideas of Reggae Global Radio or its affiliates. You can say nothing bad about Mark. That's the end of the day. We're in a out of many one society. We've gone through 400 years of slavery. So if you're taking an ad hominem approach, you're going to say he's white. That's it. If that's all you can say about him, that's something to think about. But the election is not about Mark. Mark is just one person. So when we have in a conversation, if it is that Andrew Holness is the prime minister because of Andrew Holness, there's something significantly wrong, because we have a parliamentary system and we vote by constituent to constituent, and the individual person has to win his constituent along with other persons. So if you're in Trelawney and you're voting for Andrew, and the person in green because you like Andrew, there's something fundamentally wrong with you, and you need to get serious mental check. Likewise, if you're saying I don't want Mark to be the prime minister because he's white, there's something fundamentally wrong with you, because he may be the very best person, but if him have some goons around him not gonna win. So you have to assess as a critical thinker each and every candidate, so that when it is over, because I mean, people are upset with me for saying this. If something ain't broke, I'm not gonna try to fix it. So you see, where I live, if where I live is all right, um, until I see otherwise, even if I don't vote, where I live, Delroy Chuck is gonna win. When him leave, him daughter won't win. But when him leave, but apart from that, that's what it is. Sibuela says, slave enforcer is what I see in this leadership. I am shocked to see Sizzler, I guess you want to say Capleton, and others so-called Rasta supporting a Bustamante regime. That makes zero sense to me. And if you are in 2024 and you're worried about color, you have an issue, because let me tell you something. You see, white woman, boy, I don't want them cancel my show. But yeah, I must remember the office I hold, so let me leave that alone. But certain things nice. There's a time and place for everything. So I don't discriminate. You see what I'm saying? So I not to say I not to say nothing. It's about time Jamaica had a prime minister who doesn't have to attain an offshore account. That's not patriotic. I don't know how people believe in conjure wholeness after all those lies. No, but this is the thing. All of that is all that. Who's telling me to repent? Anyway, all of that stuff. The comment section well lively today. Um, yeah. So it's very easy to say anything. At the end of the day, you go to the polls, and the purpose of this conversation is to invite you to deal with the critical assessment. But right now, as it is, my people, we are now going to go to a commercial break for 5 minutes, that is. So work with me, all right? Yes, sir. So somebody say, Yeah, so we're doing some housekeeping on Reggae Global Radio. It's now 11 o'clock in London, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Um, yeah, it's ironic because people speak about people forget that the Jamaica Labour Party had Edward Seaga for years and nobody had a problem with it. Bustamante was closer to white than black. I don't think I think that as a Jamaican it doesn't matter the color of your skin, and nor do I feel inferior to white Jamaicans or any other Jamaicans. It's either you're bright and you have your money or you don't. The social regime in Jamaica is a farce. I don't know why people would use race and try to blur the color lines. What you need is capacity. What you need is compassion. What you need is empathy. If these things aren't present, then you have to watch how people treat the least among them, and then you'll understand. You will have a better appreciation for why constitutional rights are so important and why I would sound like a broken record. It's not for me, you know. I'm fine. You can do all that you want. I have capacity to take my gripe to the court, to the highest court of the land, if I have to. For me, and I do it for others as well. But you can't do it for everybody. But do you want to be in a country where people they have made up their mind that they're going to just breach your rights and you have to access the courts to get back a remedy or get back your rights? That's a matter for you. I honestly am not in a position to make that judgment call for you. But when I'm saying when you look at your candidates, it's a simple thing, you know. I always want to know where your wealth come from. Where you Professor Rex Nettiford says a butu in a Benz is still a butu. He clearly wasn't talking about me because my grandfather was driving Benz and my father was rich before some of these people ever thought of it. So while some were, so those things are important. So generational wealth is different from riches, and yeah, you have to people have to understand. And I know I'm not making a case for the elite. What I'm saying is not rocket science when the people who want to represent you. Some of them boot lean and them have one jeans pants right now and they want access to public funds. And so they're begging and they're being very nice right now. Nobody mad at me right now, you know, because I can talk like this because it's election time. They want me to put my ex somewhere. But you dare not trick me and give me 6 pieces of chicken and then think that you're better than me when you get into office and when people come to you for assistance, you don't want to do that. It's a matter for you. But I can tell you there are some Jamaicans, some of us, I'm including myself in that, where whether we vote or not, we press on. We press on because we work and we make sure that we are independent from government. And I tell you this, when me can have a list of people right now. If the Jamaica Labour Party lose the general election, then broke another money and don't live nowhere. So you see those dependents who become shower rangers because they have a personal interest and benefits that include the trickle down, and they are bloggers who have contracts at whatever, whether it be a hospital, whether it be a whatever. That's somebody who have an interest. If your interest is for the betterment of the people, it's a different conversation. But you have to develop critical thinking tools to know the difference. So as somebody like me who just I'm here to curse any government that mistreat the people. And I'm seeing conversations about UIC. UIC simply isn't ready. They're not a part of the conversation, and they need to collaborate themselves and they need to form proper alliances with people who have capacity. That is just the honest truth. And what you have now is um, a People's National Party that is ready to serve the people, and you have the Jamaica Labour Party that is ready to continue to serve the people. I am not making a case for any of those parties. I'm making a case for you, the people, to get the critical skills that's necessary to make an informed decision. That is what is of utmost importance. Right. And so again, know your candidates. I have certainly, in my mind, have found a way to look at. I need to plug in this battery. Right away. Yeah. So I have found a way for sure to strike the balance. There is there's a candidate. I'm just giving you an example. Um yeah. Her name is Jodian Kalamati. She's in Montego Bay. She is very bright, very intelligent, have all the capacity to serve as a counselor. I'm not from Montego Bay, so I don't know her division. But what I can say to you about Springmount division, yeah, Jodian Kalamati. You talk to people, they don't know that you have conversations with them, but you hear about their passion, and you see the service that they want to have. I think her father is was a counselor one time, and she grew up in politics, and she understands what it is to serve the people. um she is the candidate for the Springmount division, and she say rebuild with color. That's her catchphrase. Why am I singling her out? She is a young Jamaican, a daughter of Jamaica with all the prospects. I'm gonna say the way our skin black and pretty, me have to wonder if she bathe in a milk. I'm not being aesthetic, but I don't like ugly people, so I have to see with me. I just don't. That's my honesty. So she's a beautiful black woman, and she just happens to be in the People's National Party. But it don't get no, when it comes to dark skin, it don't get no darker than that. So you same people say, oh, Mark White, but he has given a woman with the darkest skin the opportunity of a lifetime. And she as a council candidate wants to serve the people. It's a matter for the people. But if you put in the work, and if you're speaking like how you speak about Mark, that you don't want Mark to win, you're saying that you don't want this young lady to serve our country in her capacity. A bright, intelligent woman who is the future of this country. I split justice where it is. I also can tell you about Dr. Renee Neal. She is in Portmore. I mean, no want nobody say I'm a friend them me I talk to, come. I'm not a friend in Jamaica. My friend are my brother and my father. Me not a friend of Jamaica. Me make that clear. So me not do no plug, and me not getting paid for this. I'm telling you about people I come across and I've had conversations with, and party lines have nothing to do with it when it comes to local government election and how important it is. Dr. Renee Level, councillor candidate for the Greater Portmore North Division. Again, I said, I don't know this guy. I don't live in Portmore, so I can't vote for her. But what I'm telling you about is a black woman, dreadlocks, bright, beautiful eyes, a brilliant mind. She's a doctor, she's an educator. I would go as further. No disrespect, Miss Flavel. But I know that this Renee Gale, she's running for council, but she has the capacity to be Minister of Education. And she's brighter than what people would think. But would she get the opportunity? Probably not, because she's a black Rasta woman. And she's entering politics at a time where Jamaica has decided that they're discarding the Jamaica Labour Party and replacing it with the PNP. So does she lose the opportunity to represent her constituency when she has the capacity, because people are tired of the Andrew Holness administration? I think not. I would hope that that's not the case, right? So we have to look at that and make that assessment. And in making that assessment, it's a matter for you. So I know at the end of local government election, the People's National Party is going to win. But I don't care about that because I just saying I want Dr. Renee Gale to win her seat. Simple. Just like how if you put it in reverse and people say, well, the Labour Party is going to win. Well, I don't care. I want Jodie and Calamati to win her. I want her to represent the people. That's a matter of choice. But the way the dynamics of it is that we don't have ballads where we tick the boxes of all the people we like individually and then say, oh, I like Jody and Calamati, but I also like Mark Golden, and then the government is formed. So we have colorfulated, not conflated, colorful. You have to make up words for the nonsense that takes place in our society, where we're seeing this election. It is not a referendum on the two leaders. So those of you who think that if it is that the Andrew Holness led government wins the local government election, it means that Mark has to go. Absolutely not. Nonsense. Nonsense. And we need to educate ourselves and become critical thinkers in the middle of what is one of the most important elections for modern Jamaica. We are moving in a direction where corruption has plagued the progress of our country. We have criminalized persons. We don't believe in rehabilitation. We don't believe in second opportunities. And bad mind is just a plague. It is a plague, and the biases, whether implicit and explicit, has gone beyond what is acceptable for us in our society, and we need to know that. So I'm just putting that out there like that. People might agree or people might disagree. Some Sean says, but how do one vote when corruption is so rampant? It's simple. Vote out the corrupt. It's simple. You see, if corruption is your marker for voting, it is the government who is corrupt, not the opposition. The opposition is not in government. So if corruption is your problem, you simply vote out the corrupt. A dog could be on the other side. You make the most powerful statement with your vote and said, we do not want corruption. I tell you, I was at the Privy Council. I had the pleasure of speaking at the Privy Council. And I also listened and I heard the state tell the Privy Council that we gambled and we allowed, authorized, sanctioned, and agreed for a corrupt juror to remain on the jury so we could get a verdict. That is not a true verdict. So when you have people in places sanctioning corruption and allowing corruption, you need to be concerned. And how do you disassociate yourself from corruption? Corruption is bad, Corruption is bad in this day and age. Let me tell you how bad it is. Hey, boy, I know everything make me talk, yeah. But that one they make me laugh to myself a while ago. Yeah, corruption is a stain against. Let me tell you, corruption is a stain against somebody's name. It's kind of like having convictions and you can't get rid of them. And people, even when you make amends, they use it to judge you. And rightly so, you are to be judged. You can't just don't pay your student loan, and you can't just get investigated and say you thief money or you did this and that. And then people say, oh, but we're not prosecute for that all. Or you can't be an attorney and investigated, and you and your husband have NEPA and this, and then they say, oh, but we're not charging you. and that's acceptable. If that's not bringing the profession into disrepute, then I don't know what the standards are. But corruption is what allows things to be swept under the rugs, and nepotism. But nepotism will never go, because if you go to tax office and you don't have a friend, you have to go join the line. If you go to a bank and you don't have a friend, you have to go join the line. And the lines are so long. And so the system is made. If you go to the bank and you need to open an account, they just changed it recently, but they say you have to know somebody. That's nepotism. The bank won't give you an account unless two people vouch for you. That's nepotism. Because the man who doesn't know two people can't open an account. So nepotism is embedded in our society, and that has to change. And opportunities and equality, equal opportunities, equitable at that for all, is something that we should be marching towards. So I hope that answers your question. Keisha says the PNP is coming with a lot of new state of persons as MPs. Wonderful opportunity to start afresh. Well, if the PNP want to start afresh and they roll out the candidates, as long as them not done and as long as them not ugly, then something can go on. But where Jamaica is right now, we just don't have no room for dunce and ugly. So if you're coming on a platform and you're gonna say, yeah, I don't like maths, you probably shouldn't be in government. You shouldn't even be in local government, because the salaries that they're getting now, you can't come talk about, yeah, we'll fix up the market. And then the woman say, lion, the market dirty. Yeah, those days are gone. We're in social media, where social media is just fast and it comes right at you. So these are people not gonna like it, when I say stuff like that. But let me be clear, because they say context matter. Ugly is a spiritual attribute. You cannot be wicked, you cannot be deceitful, you cannot be envious, and you cannot be evil. If you are all these things, then you're an ugly individual. And you can't be all of that, and then on top of that, you come and you're dunce like a doorknob, uneducated in matters of governance. These are things that has to be changed. And there are people who will dislike the truth, but the truth is the truth, and it's not an offense. And if your response to this line of reasoning is, oh, you chat too much, or it's inappropriate to say that, then you just simply don't like the truth. But certainly it has to be said, because if it isn't said, what happens is you deceive the people. And when it comes to election, you get no credit for having people come out in droves wearing your shirt. That's not the issues for the people. The vote is what matters. Rallying up people to have a merry time so they can drink cow cod soup and goat soup, and then have some KFC and liquor jerk chicken and all of that. That's not something that will that doesn't change the lives of the people beyond the election. Issuing RADA cards that expire on the 26th of February is deceptive. From making commitments that you can't keep. You can't keep it. So here's why you can't keep it. I cannot commit to do something when I'm not going to be in office to do it. That's just the reality. It can't happen. It's a political impossibility, and it's a Hail Mary. But Psalms 91 is effective, Yeah, that's how voting go. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand. And when the ballots count up, you just lose. That's how it works. But I think what is important is to use your power of the vote, having used your critical thinking skills. It's a practice. It's practice, If when you go to vote, in your constituency, you're satisfied with the counselor, the chips fall where they may. That's what I'm saying, you know. When you if you are satisfied with your counselor on the day, because we can't vote for everybody. I cannot vote for Dr. Renee Meal level, and I cannot vote for Jody and Calamity. I can't. I can just tell you I love them. I can big up I can big up Byfield out of St. Mary. His critical thinking is far beyond. I think he should be running for MP. That's how bright that young man is. He made a statement. He said, "When them find the coke at Ian Fleming's, it was St. Mary, but when the tourists them come in, it's Ochi." So you have a little broad border dynamics and how the media does things. So how you represent and you speak and you sell your constituency and you sell your parish speaks volumes of the metal of leadership coming from you as a young man. I can't vote for him though, but I can just tell you about that. And so I'm not here to present every single candidate. I'm just looking at young people who is the future of the country and who, if given the opportunity, would be good to see what them do. And God and time is really the mantra. And in understanding that, you will get a better feeling of when the election is done, you said, but this is the country I want to live in, and this is the government that I voted for. So then when they do what you don't want them to do, you shame. But you can't just never vote. A voter turnout of less than 69 to 70% is not a true representation of the country. And that's what we face with now with low voter turnout. You have government behaving like they have a real mandate when half the people, I'm telling you, if the people turn out and rock the vote, which is why I participate or use my platform to have these conversations, whatever, wherever the chips lie is what we are to respect and know that our fellow Jamaicans have decided that this is what they want. But a government that is for everybody is a government that we need, and everybody include the least among us. And everybody means the minorities too. So if you're gonna build a two-story market and it doesn't have an elevator, then you didn't think of the disabled, you didn't think of the less abled or the enabled or the unable. Trying to use a politically correct word, but it changes so much. But the Disabilities Act defines what I'm trying to say. Um, and the inclusion is what we're talking about. When are we going to give young people the opportunity? And the same thing, there's this thing, it's always laughable. Um, they're complaining about the guns that are coming into the country, but what could make me want to take up a gun? What? What could make me want to take up a gun? It's so hard to do prison time. Why would you even want to kill somebody? Because knowing if you get catch, the DPP respectfully, she's gonna prosecute you, and she's gonna do all in her power to make sure you get the time that you deserve. So why would you want to commit a crime? But we don't have these conversations, and we don't give young people the opportunity. We don't even give them. We don't even. I've read the manifesto. Nothing in the manifesto from the PNP says to me, we're going to try to improve the validity or the value of the passport so that young people can go through can do their sojourns elsewhere without the rigmarole of immigration red tapes that prevent them from being the greatest versions of themselves. And I'm serious about that. I don't know if when I say this that the JLP is going to put out a manifesto that includes how to increase the validity or the value of the passport to allow young people to go elsewhere. Because if young people were allowed to go in spaces where they realize that they really matter individually, rather than seeing them as the address where they come from. 'Cause I can tell you, thing, ghetto people way better than uptown people. I don't even know where uptown for. I don't even know why we have a uptown. Cause the whole of them need for go work out. I'm not talk go express gym and go talk to them friend. Like get little sustenance in your body. So look logo and sluggish and the big people person in the big position, and then you're big like your car, and you feel like people must small up themselves cause you Lego yourself like you eat KFC every day. No, so but anyway, that's another conversation. I mean, no one about we're not gonna go there. So I'm just no, I'm not making a plug for Express Gym. Disclaimer: I have my own gym, so you won't see me there. I don't mingle. But anyway, um, outside of that, I was just simply saying that there's a lot of things that we need to empower um people so that they can be the best versions of themselves, and we want that for our people. And when we do that, it would empower them to want to vote. So when we empower people to vote, and they understand what it is that they're voting for, and they feel like they're not disenfranchised, then that is where the change comes, right? Right. So there are conversations, and I'm apologizing to the people in the comments if I'm not reading the comments as I see as I should, because there's a lot of them. No, see, Patsy, the first thing Patsy says, I'm body shaming. I'm not body shaming, I'm telling the truth. Um, our young need that empowerment. Right. So I'm empowering young people, and Patsy says, oh, he's body shaming. That type of ad hominem is the reason why we are incapable of getting where we need to get. I'm empowering young poor people, and somebody says I'm body shaming. Do you see how disconnected we are? You said the Jamaican passport needs to be the value needs to increase so young people can get up at 18 and say, listen, mom, dad, grandma, community, coach, teacher. I want to go to Africa to see what it's like. I think somebody's going to give me a message when I go to Africa, and the passport can take us there. That's what I'm talking about. I just said to you a while ago, I don't care about uptown people. They're fine. In fact, they're so fine that there are people in uptown, if they didn't like what I said, they can go to the doctor tomorrow and they can nip it up and cut it out. So we're always worried about the wrong things. I don't need to ever worry about people who can take care of themselves. That's that is why context always matters. But my voice is for the voiceless. I don't ever have to defend people who can pay. They can pay people to defend them. So no, I'm not body shaming. But if you logo, you logo. It's like it's simple. If you're ugly, you're ugly. I can't do nothing about that. You have to take that up with God. And don't be mad at me because he made me so fly. How fly is he? Oh my God. Take a picture, Mete. You got me now. Yeah, right now. Yeah, if I stand up right now, Jada Kingdom would have said, what's up? Anyway, but so different from y'all really know to distract me, Behave on yourself now. I'm having a conversation with y'all. So yeah, in that in and see people, I tell them, see somebody that said, ugly, but we still get girl, all of that. But anyway, yeah, shout out to Jada Kingdom. Yes, what's up, back at you. Yeah. But so the point I'm making is these are the things that matter. So young people, no, dropping off of a bandwagon and losing your life, and we might have lost a runner, a scientist, and the next lawyer, the next something because of youthful exuberance and want to be included. Inclusion is why a young person lost his life. I'm not in the space, so I haven't heard about the Labour Party person that lost their life, but I sympathize with the lady who lost her leg, because safety is the last thing that people think about when they want power. That is why we had an election in COVID, because somebody wanted to hold on to power, but nobody never did. So we don't have to, we don't even have to get to that place. But I'm just pointing out to you that we have the opportunity to think critically, because the people who get these positions must have the capacity to serve, because you are my servant. You think I'm gonna hire no helper? Big up pay wherever you're there, because nobody ever replace you. Anyway, but you think I'm gonna hire a helper who, when me ask her to do something, she don't do it and bright herself with me? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna disrespect her, but I do expect her to disrespect me. And so, not because I'm not from Upper St. Andrew, you're gonna disrespect me. And if there's a pothole in the road and I can't complain to you about it, that don't seem right. Listen, you know how long I say, do you know how long I shout out Jada, and look, them in the comments still talking about Jada. I tell you, where your mind up? Yeah. But anyway, um, yeah, and see, we have the conversations about it was spiked and all of that, but COVID was COVID. COVID is not COVIDing right now. But in essence, what are we saying? Do not use. All right. So Buela said, I'm so disappointed that I have been thinking about living elsewhere if the current government stays in power after working in the coal icebox for so many years. Wow. That's profound. Pamela said, agree. Imagine if our leaders were genuinely investing in our people to self-actualize and reach their full potential, and do likewise with national investment. Jay would exactly. These are the conversations we need to have in the spaces, but also to understand that when there are, the clock is real. There are some generational. It's almost like a relay. The baton exchanges takes place. What the PNP have to offer? Boo-har! Somebody asked me what the PNP have to answer. I gotta answer I gotta answer you, but don't feel bad when I hurt your feelings by answering you, because the truth hurts. The answer is everything that this government doesn't have to offer. That's what they have to offer. But yeah, for young people and the relay, the changing of the guard. So it's like a relay. We have to know when there is the changing of the baton exchange. Because every single year, the future graduates from high school, and there must be opportunities for them. And we must be in a place where we're producing greatness, not producing crabs in a barrel that's trying to make a thing reach. And they must have kids in the middle of it, and they must live a life, and they must get born, and they must go through all the sand through the hourglass. So are the days of our life, and make $13,000 a week. It just don't work. Yeah. So these are the best. This is the time when it is the greatest opportunity for young people with a voice. It's just that enough young people, they're not even on the voters list. So, and not to mention the young ones. We have to protect the young. We have to protect the future. Um, that's really what it is. And as I said, this conversation, when we say context matters, it goes down to the bare minimum. We don't have to find ourselves in situations where it really is a situation where we're voting and then nothing happens. um when we Somebody says exactly I sat. Marjorie Histon says, out of order, only a blind man right now would I really want Andrew to remain in power. So if that is a position that you take after critically assessing the reality, then that's a true statement. But if you haven't critically assessed the statement, then it may very well be fallacious. So I want people to understand that the message I'm saying is you are to critically assess where you are. Because even this thing about Andrew remaining in power has nothing to do with the local government election. The local government election does not change the governance, as in leadership at the top. Liking Andrew or hating Andrew, liking Mark or hating Mark has nothing to do with what you're voting for. And public education is what is always lacking because they announce it having not called it for over 5 years. 7 years, maybe almost 8, having not done that. There's no public education. And it was constitutionally due, that's why it was called. And now that it is constitutionally due, no public education. And people are on the campaign trail as if it is a major election that it's worth losing your life for. No. And I still haven't seen the two people in my constituency. I don't know what them look like, but when me reach a Jamaica, if I no ugly, me not vote for none of them. But since me don't know nothing about you, can somebody before this show done in 20 minutes tell me who are the candidates at Constant Spring, at that which Delroy Truck constituency? Who is the green one and who is the red and who is the orange one? Because that's the point I'm making. You want the vote, but we don't even know who you are. You want the vote and we don't know who you are. So if it's a woman, woman for the just vote, you gotta just say the thing, we must just vote. Or ladies, what we run? Who are the candidates? What is it? What you bringing to the table? How it go? How it go? Which party me for? What me for do? Talk to me. Because that is where we are right now. But like I tell you, when election done, don't be that pig. Where every time on the journey to the 5 years following this, you gotta wee again and again and again. That is what we're looking at. And so I am not see somebody say me at Constant Spring and me ugly. Are you the candidate? Elaine Turner. Oh, so is Elaine Turner saying she's the candidate for Constant Spring? Which party are you from, Elaine? I'm looking and I'm asking who are the candidates for Constant Spring, Grand Spain, Constant Spring, St. Andrew, Upper St. Andrew. Who are the candidates? All right, so Christopher Lawrence, are you sure about that? Do some research. On the 27th, I want to ask who will be better off. I'm still waiting. Context, Mr. Context Matters. Thursday blessings. The truth you speak is not for comfort. It is for liberation. The ball is in the voters' court to make the right decision. Time come. Bless up. UK shout out. I think the green one is Susan Senior because she is the incumbent. Also, Susan it was the counselor all this time. I've never met Susan. Susan, them have one pothole on the road where me live. You can't come pull it up. Oh, you want to go swimming with me? You want to go swimming? I didn't even know that. So who is the candidate? Who is the candidate that's challenging Susan Senior? Buhar, who is the candidate? See, people are asking who is the candidate from Meadowbrook. Fabio, what Buhar gone because she never liked the answer to my question. Hush. Somebody said, see, and the answer is no clue. Nobody can tell me who the candidates are. Candidate, where you there? You can't even, you can't. May I try to get some vote for you? Where you there? You can't even tell me. When I was in Jamaica 2011, nobody was ugly except the corrupt people. So me understand what you mean. Clean heart people, them beauty shines through. Thank you, Sarah Caliente. You know what I'm getting at. Because there's some people think I'm talking about the physical the physicality. They think that's what it is, but they don't understand. Oh, okay, okay. I didn't know what you were saying, but boo-ha, me here say you get me here say you get mute. Boo-ha. Anyway, so anyway, all right, blessings, blessings. Yeah. But so you're somebody said Isabel Cannon, you are missing the point. Vote out is the point, and we know the PNP much better. No, I'm not missing the point. This program is about thinking critically and voting for what benefits you in your constituency. That's what this program is about. I have not missed any point. Um, and I'm talking. I am trying to educate people so they make informed decisions and they don't willy nilly put their ex beside anything. Yeah, because them are no Malcolm. So we don't expect that. I assure you, I don't miss points. I cross my T's and dot my I's. I don't miss points. If I might laugh out things, but you will never find a Rasta man that's bright like me who will shame you like I can. Yeah, that kind of thing. But anyway, that is what it's about. Um, anyway, so I've said my piece in terms of that, and before we getting down to the wrap up, and I'm leaving the comment section open. When I return next, I will have the call feature so people can call in, and we have decent, beautiful conversations about certainly it will be post the local government election, and we'll see what Jamaica has decided, and I will be able to ask people. So somebody's telling me that Renee Johnson, she is councillor for Havendale. Not sure if she goes into Meadowbrook, but I was asking about Constant Spring, so I don't know. So Susan Senior is originally from Carl Samuda's constituency. Unsure who is, and I'm talking about Delroy Chuck's constituency right now. So I just showing you how um, we're having a local government election and we don't know who the candidates are and we don't know which constituency them come from, but they want us to step out bright and early Monday and don't pass my yard with my 6 piece of KFC. A 12 piece of chicken me supposed to get got two candidates. 12 piece of barbecue chicken, four coleslaw, four mashed potato, two corn on the cob, three water, and a splash. Yeah. So if I don't know who you are, how am I gonna be able to collect my two chicken and my green shirt and my orange shirt with a beautiful picture on it and my armband? Oh, how? What? I'm in a dilemma right now. How is it gonna go? Me and my family them supposed to have Saturday dinner and Sunday dinner. So you decide. Is the incumbent coming to my house on Saturday with my KFC? And will the candidate elect or hopeful come on Sunday with my KFC? Will Seven Craves deliver it and let me know that it is them? Since I've never met you, since you've never said to me, I'm your candidate, vote for me, or does my vote don't count? Or you don't represent me. Talk up, let me know. So the show almost done and I do not have the name for the candidates, local government election for Delroy Chuck's community. I haven't seen a flyer, a letter, or a 50-cent stamp. ISAT is a little, somebody says ISAT, a little off the topic. Sister P call everybody by their correct name from Black Man or Tesha Miller and more. But when it comes to Vibes Cartel, him address my artist in a disrespectful manner. Sister P. Oh, you're referring to this guy's voice. That's another. That's way off the topic. We're not even going go there. So um yeah, thank you. God knows. I have to get my barbecue. See, when you know what I'm saying, Kim says they can't afford the Upper St. Andrew votes. But the Upper St. Andrew, listen, Upper St. Andrew vote just as cheap enough to live up. If you live up at St. Andrew, your fridge empty and your cupboard them empty, you don't even have a tin of mackerel in there because the rents are high. So you're talking about it X right now. The vote cheap Upper St. Andrew because bulla with the name pan it to the little butter will do good right now. So you come about Upper St. Andrew high. You must know say prosperity miss everybody. Anyway, so this show is very interesting because I think that whether ISAT has missed the point. So Marsha says ISAT, it is Jennifer Clark and Tamika Smykel for the PNP in Delroy Trucks area. So Jennifer Clark is the JLP and Tamika Smykel for the PNP in Delroy Trucks area. So I've never met Tamika Smykel and I've never met Jennifer Clark. But I know Delroy Truck. So Miss Tamika Smykel and Jennifer Clark, please to provide my KFC if you want my votes. And I will have conversations with the people on my road who also wants KFC because all of our fridge and our cupboards are empty. We live in St. Andrew and we don't have anything in our fridge. And if you want our votes, you're certainly gonna have to bring the KFC. Seven Craves delivery, we take that as well. And I speak for the people in St. Andrew whose cupboards and fridge are empty because the rent is so high and the light bill, we actually pay full price for the light because we can't steal it. Likewise, the water, even though it lock off sometimes, we have tanks and we have to fill it. So we welcome the KFC 6-piece barbecue, 2 sets, and you can bring your shirts, calendars, memorabilia, and stuff. And if you want us to drive on that day, even though the polling station is at walking distance, but if you want us to drive, you can give us a little gas money. Now, my vehicle, it takes 20 grand to fill the tank, and I don't carry people, so they too will need money to go in their tanks, so we can have a motorcade to vote for you. So if you come in, you have to really step correct. But the chicken will suffice because the sun is hot and we will walk and put our X beside the respective shirts who bring the right chicken. A little tip for you. If you go to the Red Hills Road, Kentucky, and you get the coleslaw, and then you go to the Halfway Tree, Kentucky, and you get the barbecue chicken, you're in good stead. All right? Yes. So, in conclusion, I just want to make this clear. We really want to be able to enhance our observation skills. We want to be able to analyze. We want to be able to communicate, and we want to be able to do what is known as problem solving. So at the end of it, we know why we're voting. One person says it's a no-brainer, I said. We're simply voting out what is there. The problem is voting out what is there has to be done in a general election. Otherwise, you're just sending a message that can empower them to do so much more, i.e., a government wink wink. If them really want to get the people on them side, them the finance minister will come and say, guess what? We no longer collecting income tax, and put it in the manifesto and make a commitment that we just gonna tax the food and tax the KFC, but we're not take income tax because we have to suspend it like a sunset legislation. A real government, if they want to win, they will do something called a sunset legislation and let out non-violent criminals and don't have them festering in the dirty prisons with the hardened criminals. And then a real government that want to fight crime will set up the ankle bracelet system so them can monitor people and don't have people in jails and lockups when they can pay money and get an ankle bracelet. You get what I'm saying? So you can suspend freedom of movement because of the ankle bracelet. It's a big money making scheme. But we would have different conversations where that is concerned. But we don't have critical thinkers, so we don't expect that. So vote what works for you, do what works for you in the voting analysis. But once you understand that, you get the facts, facts don't lie, you have the evidence, you make the observations and the orders, then you form your judgment. But you have to be rational. So you don't come and tell me that because the man is a white man, him can't be the prime minister. Or you don't come and tell me because the man don't sign him declaration, him forfeit him right to be prime minister. Or the man because him keep 6 corrupt people in parliament, him shouldn't be prime minister because him give us roads, because he's done infrastructure, because he's improved the country right before our eyes in reasonable time. You can't take that away from him. You have to be unbiased. So these people that come up and some of them orange till, them sour, and lime supposed to be green. And then you have people, them so biased that right in front of them eyes when the whole of the money from the Ministry of Education gone and the whole of the gas out of Petrojam gone and them all thief the whole of the oil from Venezuela. Them can Venezuela. And them do all of this and all that, and them say, oh, we don't care. And now no one bed can go in at the Cornwall Regional Hospital and billions of dollars to improve a building where them could have did build over from scratch. But people don't care. So you do the analysis and you do the evaluation. The application of critical thinking includes self-directed, self-disciplined, self-monitored, or self-monitoring and self-corrective habits of the mind. Thus, a critical thinker is a person who practices the skills of critical thinking or has been trained and educated in its disciplines. We have a lot of work to do even beyond this, save and except for I'm just asking you to listen. Um, Big up yourself in a mad boss. You know, so I'm gonna make that trip to Cayman to do the guest speaking. There are people out there, that need to be empowered. Same thing, I make the commitment, not the promise, because my prime minister say you mustn't promise, you must commit. So I make the commitment to do the tour in Africa and empower my black people. The world is big enough, so we have to do that, and hopefully we can take some young people who want better out of their life so they can put on the gun, take up them passport and see what Africa is, and make the journey so they can come back and tell them brothers, you're in Plato's cave, the shadows on the wall are not real. I've seen greener pastures. Prosperity is actually be the freedom to move around the world and to meet people, and all the white ladies in the world that as them see you, them all sound like Jada. Yeah, they're out there for us. By the way, my people, when the day come, election time, you put your ex in a place where your life will be improved. This show was not to influence anybody on where to put their X. You put the X after you've made the analysis, you have had mature consideration, you've met your candidate, you've spoken to them, so you know if them mouth stink or them brush them teeth, you know if they wear proper deodorant, you might like how them smell. You know if they're women, if them dress nice like Lisa. You have to know these things. But I digress. Um, I am going to just say to you, do what's best. Joe Forbes, I don't know. I haven't seen them. Beauties in the eyes of the beholders. Like you can't get over the ugly word. But I said it. I'm not taking that back. Um, I've been saying this. I've been using this word, even if people don't understand what it means forever. You can be spiritually ugly. You can be. That's something you have to deal with. You need Jesus. Um, yeah, and I would also suggest that before you vote, you should double down and ensure that you get your KFC. Election cannot take place without KFC. I know KFC now pay me, but no candidate that walk Jamaica can get vote unless them are run KFC. I'm serious. So KFC workers, when you should have did vote today, because it is the most important people this time of year, more than the police and the nurses and the teacher. A KFC worker have to make sure so the chicken cook good. Have to make sure so the service is bad. And then this year I say, what you want? And I say, can I get a little barbecue? It done. You want spicy chicken? I say, yes, please and thanks. Because KFC nice. And I just want to express that to all of you, that no vote without KFC chicken, because you won't have, your brain won't calibrate and you won't be able to process. So when you go in the booth, if you never take a bite of the barbecue chicken, your hand will go tremble and you won't know where to put your X. These things. So that being said, I am gonna say before I go that context matters. Yeah, it really does. It truly does. Yeah. So this show was in the vein of critical thinking, honing the skills, or getting the skills to be able, um, to, in a nutshell, process and analyze, hearing what the candidates have to say, knowing who the candidates are, how to choose your political servant. That is what is important. And your political servant is simple, is simply the candidate that will carry the banner for the next 5 years. And you simply need to appreciate that. And once you are, yeah. Yeah, my people. I don't have styling. That's the only thing that's bad about weed in England. But that's it. My people. Reggae Global Reggae Global Radio. That's it. Context Matters. February 22nd. Join me next week where we'll have some more conversation um about the post, what the outcome is, and the way forward. It's gonna be exciting, and I'll be in my studio with my Starlink, and nobody can laugh off of me and bright themselves. I'm excited about that. No, I don't have Starlink, Missy. That's the only problem. So before I go though, because the yeah, before I go, because the internet was acting up, I just wanna send some shout outs to my peoples. So Catherine Daly, thank you so much. Malvon, good night to you as well. Merlin Carby, I hope you enjoyed the show. Or remember, like, subscribe, share, invite people to come to the show. Last week did turn up in a car. Everybody did want to know what's wrong with the cartel, and then even somebody repost and all of that. But as we continue to grow, as we continue to educate each other, understanding that we are uneducated in matters of things we've never heard about, but the process of being willing to learn, um, and all of that is yeah. And another thing is I don't clickbait, so I'm not gonna say hey cartel news at the top of the hour so people can stick around to hear that. Um, we have so many things to speak about and in the spaces, and plus when he's free, I'm gonna be on tour with him because if him don't take me on tour, obviously I'm gonna sue him. So there's many things, exciting times to come, and those people they need to learn to keep their tongue in their mouth, man. I mean, how do you go on the world stage and long out your tongue? That's just unheard of. It's so uncouth. But anyway, good evening, Keith Salmon. That's right. Thank you, always. Big up Loxley Gregory. I tell you, I feel so much pride every time somebody big up my grandfather. Great man, James Portius. Miss B, is who you're laughing at. What's going on right there? So, bless up yourself, yeah, and yeah, it's for context purposes though, not content but context. When you're in certain forums, you should turn the ringer off on your phone. It's proper etiquette. Like your phone shouldn't ring if you have any respect for um you know the powers that be. But anyway, to I said too much information. Yeah, I'm gonna go because the show did end. So this little piece right here, so they shouldn't be here. And big up yourself in a star done. Um, no, you see the truth always hurts, but that's how it go. That's how it go. Um, amen, amen. Rachel, context matters. Justice is always for all. Yeah, and let he without sin cast the first stone, and ensure that you have the evidence when you make such bold statements without the facts to substantiate it. Big up yourself, Jackie Graham and Buela. I hope I'm saying Buela. That's such a exotic name. Big up yourself. You know Pinky, I know the brain. The two of them had a show back then on Warner Brothers. It was a part of Animaniacs, Pinky and the Brain. Love them, yeah. Um Carol Duran, big up yourself. K Sue, how you do? I'm good. And Dion Dunkley, good night to you. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and it's time to go. I was just bigging up who need to be big up. So that's the end of the stream on the YouTube scene. Peace out. I'd sing for y'all, but y'all ain't pay me. So buy my album later.